Disagreements happen every day in our working lives, and that can be a plus. Differing points of view help teams and organizations innovate and solve problems. But it's important to understand the difference between professional disagreements and workplace bullying or violence. Of these two serious problems, the one we hear about more often is workplace violence. When a violent incident happens, it grabs the attention of the news media. But acts of violence in the workplace, although serious, are relatively rare. On the other hand, workplace bullying is not rare. For too many people, it's a daily occurrence. All too often, employees are threatened, insulted, humiliated, ignored, or mocked by supervisors and coworkers. Even when there is no physical harm, bullying can have deep emotional consequences and a profound impact on an employee's morale and stress level. In this program, we're going to examine workplace bullying and workplace violence. Both cause huge health, safety, and economic problems for employers and employees. We'll start with workplace bullying and why it's important for all supervisors to understand the problem. We'll define what bullying is, look at the size of the problem for employers, who's involved. We'll show you the warning signs you need to be aware of, and what you can do to prevent bullying. We're also going to examine workplace violence. We'll look at potential warning signs, discuss how violence impacts the workplace, and how you can protect yourself and your coworkers. Consider the following examples of workplace bullying. A supervisor repeatedly humiliates someone in front of others.
How could you be so stupid?
An employee makes a habit of sarcasm and gossip to degrade another employee.
Right. I mean, she doesn't belong here. I think the company should fire her.
Bullying can be defined as repeated, unwelcome behavior that humiliates or intimidates a coworker or otherwise sabotages his or her performance. A key word in this definition is repeated. A single incident of anger or frustration may not be considered bullying, but if a pattern develops, then it likely fits the definition. Bullying takes many forms, including expressions of hostility, either verbally or through body language, abusive conduct. How big is the problem of bullying? In a word, big. About 53.5 million American workers, roughly 35% of the working population, have reported being bullied at work. Who's affected by bullying, and who are the bullies? The answer to both questions is anyone. Despite a common misconception that bullies pick on someone who is weak or a loner, bullies may choose coworkers who are strong performers or outgoing individuals who may be seen as a competitive threat. Just as anyone can be bullied, anyone can be a bully as well. There are usually plenty of warning signs that an employee might be a victim of bullying. Here are some of the indicators. Employees actively avoid each other or provoke each other. It seems that everyone is aware that two employees don't get along. Ignoring the problem of bullying simply doesn't work in the long run. Consider the message you give the victim when you fail to resolve their problem, and the continued negative impact on their working relationships. You need to act. When you encourage people to report workplace bullying, your organization will be in a better position to take action to address the issues as early as possible. Assess whether workplace bullying prevention measures are working. What should you do if you see an employee being bullied or threatened at work? Would you know how to respond? And what if it's another supervisor who's doing the bullying? One option is to confront the bully yourself.
I wanted to talk to you about what happened this morning. From my viewpoint, it looked like you were being very aggressive with Jenny, even to the point of humiliating her. What was going on?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I kind of lost my head.
You won't always receive an apology, but don't choose to ignore the situation. Your intervention just might help stop a bully's pattern of mistreatment. If one employee has been intimidating or ridiculing a coworker, and there were no witnesses, the report might be your first indication that a problem exists. First, treat all reports seriously and confidentially. Assume that everything being reported is true. It might be exaggerated, so keep an open mind, but the effects on the bullied victim are real, and you'll need to address them. Next, investigate. The investigation should be conducted by you or by someone else, such as a human resources representative. Unfortunately, attempts to de-escalate a bullying situation are not always going to be 100% effective. Sometimes bullying can escalate and turn into workplace violence. It's also important to note that not all workplace violence is caused by bullies. It can erupt for a variety of reasons. Violence at the workplace can be caused by personal factors such as financial, legal, or marital problems, drug or alcohol abuse.
God, I hate this job. The boss is always on my back. I tell you, one of these days I'm going to totally lose control.
How can this person tell if his coworker is likely to become violent or if he's just joking or letting off steam? Most employees with grievances don't become violent. Compared to bullying, physical violence is much less common. It isn't just employees who perpetrate workplace violence. Offenders can be customers, vendors, a worker's estranged spouse, boyfriend or girlfriend, or an acquaintance of an employee. Here's what you can do to prepare for and minimize incidents of workplace violence. First, be alert to the warning signs. All threats must be taken seriously, handled promptly, and reported to your human resources department or the police. Don't ignore the potential for violence, only to regret it later. Second, know your company's crisis management or emergency response procedures. Another type of violence that affects the workplace is domestic violence. Just as home life issues don't get left behind when employees report for work, domestic violence does not disappear when victims leave home. If a victim of domestic violence leaves their abuser, where is the one place the abuser knows the victim will be every day? At work. If you think an employee is experiencing domestic violence, be concerned, but if you approach that employee, don't attempt to act as a counselor. It's okay for you to offer support, but don't try to solve the problem yourself. Here are some things you can say to an employee who may be a victim of domestic violence.
I know it's hard to talk about this.
You're not alone. Many people have gone through this.
I can give you a number to call for professional help.
Workplace bullying and violence affect the victims and the company's bottom line. When hostile or violent incidents are allowed to continue, they can decrease employee morale, increase stress, lower productivity, increase absenteeism, and increase the use of company healthcare benefits. So be alert for signs of bullying and violence at your workplace, and know what steps to take when you see them. Make sure employees know that abuse and violence won't be tolerated, and that there will be consequences. You may not be able to prevent every incident, but through your actions, you can help maintain a safer and more productive work environment for everyone.